Hi, this is Dr. Mohammad Usman, and today training topic is about big data for beginners. And we have just started from the basics of big data, and we will be telling you about different properties of data, the V's of big data, and the impact of big data. And then we will later on try to provide you further architecture and tools details of big data. So starting from the very basics of big data. When we talk about different items and different YouTube videos or different data uploading on your different websites and on your desktop or on your computer, then we have some sort of little amount of data. But when we talk about big amount of data, like if you have a data with 10,000 rows, million of rows and millions of pictures and millions of images and pixel images, those are needed to be combined together. So that becomes a very huge amount of data. So big data is about greater amount of data in petabytes, terabytes, and more than that, quintillion bytes. So nowadays in digital era, we are having problem of storing that data and properly processing that data in real time and to give the user with the data without any delay. So big data provides you the solution to the digital load of your data. It also provides a solution for the data that is captured through using the digital technology. Then everything is becoming smarter. A user will not wait if there will be less processing or there will be more time in processing a variable or a data online. If you have to watch a YouTube video, you will be needing to have that video in very less time displayed to you. So we want a very fast and a very system and algorithm for our solutions and our processing and our working. So for this we need the data to be available all the time over the internet or over the cloud servers. So basically big data is providing you the commercial, the most importantly the big data is providing you the solution for the commercial data which is available publicly and which we use most of the time from by visiting the videos on the Facebook and the Amazon and all the other sites. So basically they are having a tons of products and tons of data and millions of users visiting per second. So they need to manage that data precisely and provide the user the services in very little time so that the user visit their site again and stay updated to them. So for this purpose the big data came into being and we are using it nowadays of very different tools and unique tools which are working in different big data series. So when we talk about the definition of the big data, many different organizations define big data according to their own definition. Like Gartner defines it like big data is high volume, it is high velocity, and it has a variety of data available that should be cost effective and that should be innovating form of information and that should have enhanced insight, decision making and process automation. So basically big data is about managing your high volume, high velocity and high variety of data, and that is just through cost effective methods. And we need to have a cost effective method to analyze that data, and we do not need a very expensive data source that analyzes the data and provide us to the consumers or to us. So basically big data is trying to provide us the cheap approach to execute that data in timely manner. So Ernst and Young also offers the definition that big data is related to dynamic and large disparate volumes of data being created by people, tools and machines. So how people are creating that data. So when you are updating your status on the Facebook, when you are uploading the pictures on your Google account, on your Facebook account, when you are uploading your different videos on the YouTube account, you are generating data. And you are not the only one who is generating the data. There are a lot of number of users who are generating that data all the time. And there are millions of terabytes of data uploaded on the YouTube per second. So basically we have lot of data, those are uploaded by the human. Other than that, many machines are working continuously to provide you the services, like to the video which should be available on the YouTube have to be uploaded and processed. So there is a computing tool behind it and that processes that video and make it available to you. So you are having large amount of data created by machines too. Then another definition I have that from the Forbes, we saw also that big data is collection of data from digital and traditional sources and inside and out of the company, representing an ongoing discovery analysis. So it is not necessary that people outside the organization will create the data. People inside the organization will also create the data. Like bigger organization have a large amount of data available. They have Excel sheets, they have reports, they have analysis of different items. So basically in the internal to the organization there is also big data present, and external to the data organization there is also a very large amount of data present. So for these all purposes we need to have one solution which provides us the processing power to execute this large amount of data. So when talking about the big data, there can be further more definitions, but in simple terms we can say that a data which is greater in larger amount than our thinking is called big data. So talking about the V's of the big data, there are 4 V's of big data. Number 1 is volume, number 2 is velocity, number 3 is variety, and number 4 is veracity. So the data can include numbers, text, images, audio, video, or any other kind of information. You might store on your computer, you might store online, you might store on different Dropbox or any other services. So data can be in any form, and big data is the data which is characterized by one or more of the following characteristics, which are volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. And sometimes these are also called 3 V's of big data. We talk about volume, velocity, and variety of the data. So basically big data will be working on all 4 of these V's to provide you a processing power and computing power and executing the data in timely manner. So we will be talking about each of them. What is the volume? When we look greater into details of the V's, the volume refers to the amount of data generated. It is basically the traditional data analysis models that require servers with large storage capacities and with massive computing power. This model does not scale well. To increase your processing power, you need to keep investing in what is often expensive hardware. So basically we need a less expensive approach. We have analyzed in the start and studied in the start that we need an approach that is cost effective and that provide us timely execution of our data and processing of our data. We don't need to invest millions of dollars for a simple hardware to process our data. So many of the companies are using the big data services, and volume is about the amount of data generated, the collection of data at large, the high volume of data pending to be stored. Like if we talk about 40 zettabytes, 43 trillion gigabytes of data will be created by 2020, and it will increase to 300 times from 2005. So basically by the time the data is increasing all the time. Also 2.5 quintillion bytes of data is created each day, and we have a problem of storage, so we have to store that data somewhere. Then most of the companies in US have at least 100 terabytes of data stored at their organization, so they need to have a proper execution and indexing of those data. Then 6 billion people have cell phone. When we'll talk about some year later, then 10 billion people will be having the cell phones, and other than that we have tablets, we have laptops. So the data is increasing all the time. We need storage and storage. So we need to execute this volume of data, and we need to manage this huge volume of data for proper processing and execution of, and to be available all the time. And many organizations are working on this, such as NASA is one of the many companies collecting data and unprecedented. Like when I talk about exponential rate, unprecedented, it means it is in greater than quintillion bytes. Like NASA is working with the satellites, they store the images from the different galaxies, so each of that image is in greater like petabytes or terabytes, and then they combine together those images in one large scale image that is available to us at this moment. So every day NASA gathered about 1.73 gigabytes of data in every few seconds. So if you talk about the day, then you can analyze how much the greater amount of data is available. This is and it is also it is a very high volume of data, so it is difficult to store. So they need something, some storage capacity that can provide us there to store the data efficiently, and because they have to process that data later on from different satellites, from different instruments, those are up there in the galaxy. So this is just an example that what is the scale of data at this moment and why we need big data. Then we talk about the variety of the data. It is referred to the types of the data generated. Like the traditional data model required development of a schema to hold the data. In order to create a schema, you need to know the format of the data that will collect that data. And data can be, as we know, that in Word files, in XML files, in semi-structured emails, or unstructured like video files. So when we are talking about different websites like networking or video sharing, then image sharing, then blogging, then microblogging, and many other sites are having data all the time available to them. So this data is of different types. Every user is sharing different types of data in text format, in image format, or video format. So we have to manage that different kind of data. For every different kind of data, we will be needing a different kind of processing power, a different kind of algorithm. So basically, if we talk about the Wikipedia includes more than just text data. It has also hyperlinks, images, sound files, and many other types of data. You may not know how many pages are created every second, or how each page is structured. So there are several different types of data which is usually unstructured. So big data also works on managing this larger scale amount of data and working on the different type of data and processing that data to be available to you in very less time. The next one is the velocity of the data. So basically, velocity will be referred to the amount of the data that is sent to a server or to a computer, or to paste it to a computer, or copy to a computer or a cloud server in 1 second. So basically, when we have a greater amount of data, we need data models. The normal data model requires you to transfer from one system to another system through a specified speed. But that speed is not enough when the data is much greater. If you have 1 terabyte of file on a normal computer, it will just take around 1 hour to be copied from one system to another. And to analyze the data in real time, we need processing power which can compute and process greater amount of data in very less time, within seconds. So if we talk about just the stock exchange, the normal during each trading session there is 1 TB of trade information stored by each user. Then it is also projected that 18.9 billion network connections will be having by the persons on the earth. So it is increasing day by day. The cars are having sensors, the mobiles are having different sensors, we have having different Bluetooth, and we have infrared and many other approaches. So the data need to be transferred speedily from one computer to another, and especially in terms of big data, we need to have that data to be sent over the server and to get back from the server in very less time. For that we need a proper infrastructure, and we need a high connection and internet speed, and as well as other than that we need highest computing power to execute the data and copy the data in little time. So big data also relates towards the velocity of that data, that how data is returned to you and how data is stored. The next one is the veracity of the data. So basically, when we talk about volume, variety and velocity, these are the main 3 V's of the big data. Talking about the veracity of the data, we have a problem of data, that the data available or the information available to us is not consistent or not trustworthy. So there is a problem that there is very greater amount of uncertain amount of data available. So what we have to do with that data? Either we have to process that data, or either we have to delete that data. Also that there are many surveys available online that they have done that there are about 27% of the people think that there is greater amount of data available on the internet which is inaccurate. Other than that, poor data quality costs are greater than the accurate data cost. The poor data quality cost is around 3.1 trillion per year. So you know that if you are working on big data, then you are going to save a lot of amount. That will enable the organization to save their use that money for different purposes. So when we talk about the veracity of the data, we have to deal with the uncertainty of the data. Who is uploading that data? Who is downloading that data? What data is uploaded? Is that data valid? Is the data set uploaded on the different servers for computation is valid or not? So we have to deal with greater amount of problems, and these all 4 V's combined together will provide you a simple approach to work and provide a solution that can execute a data that is certain, structured or unstructured, and that is executed in a very less time. So up to here now, these were the 4 V's of the big data. And we talk about the big data structure or how big data is stored. Then I have a basic components of the big data available in the next slide. These are Hdfs. Hdfs is basically the distributed file system that is running on a large cluster of commodity machines. So we have to get a cheaper solution. So cheaper solution is like that we have different processing powers, we have different hardware available at different locations, and when a user want to execute a certain computing or a certain analysis of a different thing, so he takes or borrow resources from all of the different computers available in that cluster network. By this means they are not utilizing their own resources, they are getting the resources from the third party services. So most of the organization using the big data services get the services from the third party because it gets them a lesser amount, and also that the third party have to maintain that big data servers or the commodity servers, and they have to all the time do the maintenance. So it is not easy for an organization to use their own Hdfs system. Then we have the Mapreduce. Mapreduce is the distributed data processing model and the execution environment on the big data, and it relates and executes your queries on related to your data on different machines which are on different clusters. So basically, if you see that we have Hdfs, then we have Mapreduce, then we have Pig, Hive and Hdfs. Then talking about the Pig is the data flow language and execution environment for exploring very large data sets, and it also runs on the Hdfs and Mapreduce clusters. So your data will be linked through different Hdfs servers, and then Mapreduce will be used for the execution, and Pig will be using the data flow language which will execute your data and provide you in return the analysis of your data. So these are the different, similar there is a Hive. Hive is our distributed data warehouse which manages the data stored in the Hdfs and provide a query language based on SQL, and which is used for querying the data. So every different tool on the big data or the cloud network, it has a different purpose. Similar, if you talk about the Hdfs will be column oriented database which will be providing the Hdfs for the underlying storage and support both batch processing, computing, and using the map, reduce and point queries. So basically Hdfs will be providing the combination of Hive and Pig. So these are the simple basic components of the big data, and if I similarly call, these are also similar to the Hadoop network. So these basic components are the basic requirement of the cloud network or the big data network to provide you the services for executing your data. And so talking about the big data landscape and how big data is used, we talk about different organizations using the big data for analytic consumers which provide you the data driven decisions. Then the companies also use and sell the big data analytics and related software. They also provide you different internal use of the big data and data analytics, and they also sell you a package insights of a market of a product. Then they can also use it for the consultancy services or big data consultancy services provided to different analytic consumers. Companies or organizations also focus on generating data sets to be used in the analytic operations. Also the national research centers and government support agencies are also involved in support of big data and data analytics in research and development. So overall the big data components, or all of them, are open source, which are somehow generated by different people, and some are generated by different organizations. All of them provide you the different services which are given over here. So when we talk about the big data landscape, you must be thinking which organization use the big data. So I have over here a sample of the organization, and you can see that there are a lot of analytic consumers like Vodafone, Revenue, Kraft, Bank of Ireland, and similarly like software hardware vendors are SAP, IBM, Microsoft, Teradata. Then inside providers are the New Factory, Gamma, Google. Research and centers, we have Sedor, we have IDA Online, Enterprise Online, we have data generators, we have consultancy. So basically this is just a simple different organization overview who are using the big data services and who are providing you different services according to their type. And this is just a result of 2013, and when we are talking about in 2017, there are a lot of number of organizations which have also started using the big data. So by the time the organizations are increasing day by day as the big data and the data is increasing day by day. So every different organization and every research person is working on big data to provide you a proper service, and this is happening all the time. So this video will be up to here now, and if you like this video, you should go to our channel and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for further details. And if you want any concept to be taught in English or Urdu, then I will happy to provide you, and you can just comment below and I will happy to make it for you. Other than that, in next slides I will show you how to get a training certificate for this video. So just see it. I will not be speaking it. It will be just recording of those steps, and this video is already available on our YouTube channel. So here it is. These steps are already explained in our previous video. You can just go on our YouTube channel and follow these all steps, and then you can get the training certificate. And this will be next step when you will send us the information in the previous one. This is the type of certificate and what you are waiting for. You can get the training certificate in just few days. So go for it.